some of the teamwork comes in a very special form when you look at Tempest. You got Hyde and Lockdown, who are actually brothers, and they actually had some words to share here as they continue to be some of the best we have in Korea. I mean, look at Tempest and Hyde here messing around, but look at the teamwork between the two. My golly, that Riptire was devastating.
Their greatest successes have been when they've been on the same teams. I mean, you go back to 2016, the midseason, well, the DreamHack Summer, as it was called then, was when they had their brightest spot. That's when they shone together. They split for a time, so if you haven't kept up with Korean history, they split for a time, they come back together, and that's when they've had their greatest successes.
The brotherly love. We'll see if they can go all the way here at BlizzCon, but right now they got to focus on game number 2, and the battleground has been chosen. We are going to Towers of Doom. Leftovers are choosing to go with the first pick here. And how will Towers of Doom fare here for the Leftovers gimmick?
Thinking Leftovers aren't going to be too disappointed by this pick at all. I feel like they should have a very strong time. We've seen this be a map that teams like the One and Myfric have gone to, and yes, it has macro elements towards it, but it still does force those team fights at the end of the day. I think if you look at this draft, I'm actually not too upset by the draft that we saw coming out there from Leftovers. I feel like they can try and use that recipe again, be it the likes of Tracer, be it the likes of Leeming for DAB. But just, try and get a more solid tank. We saw such a strong chokehold on that tank port, and I don't think the Zul's going to work this time around.
I want to go back to the point Trick made at the beginning, because that was, he said they're very tank-centric, and I couldn't agree with you more, because right now, when you don't have map pick, that means you have first pick, so you can take away something like a Genji this time around, except Tempest says, wait a minute, your first pick, we're not going to give up that Genji. They put the burden on them, but it allows you to not forcibly ban some of those tanks, and you can take the Diablo or the Garrosh or whatever is left over, and then you still have 2 more picks to maybe prioritize that DAB pick if you want, because he needs to be on a Tracer, on a Leeming, or a Phoenix to get the most out of him.
Is this something that Tempest is highlighting that other teams should maybe start to follow suit? And a lot of teams, when we look at drafts, target DAB, take away heroes from him. But when we talked to Tempest, we were like, hey, who are some of the groups that you need to be worried about? They mentioned HGC, they mentioned Leftovers, and we were like, okay, so what's so straight about Leftovers? What's so great about them? And all they said, good tank play. And they are taking it away. They saw that in game number 1. Is this something that can be used by other teams to break the Leftovers down?
It really feels that way. After last game, and we saw the ETC in the previous series, and it seems like the second game when Heroes Hearth played against them, it was like, that's a nice tank, we're just going to play around that too. It's just, it seems like they're doing everything that they can to avoid Mopsio in these scenarios, and now Garrosh and Diablo both let through here. Neither one of them picked up, surprisingly, after the tank prioritization, but different battleground calls for different rules.
Interesting stalemate here, actually. I mean, the Hanzo would be very reminiscent of what we see on Battlefield of Eternity, but the Tyrande not getting picked in that first rotation for me is also a bit of a concern. You talk about the tank matchup, but now you get the 2 best picks for Tempest here. They get the Reyna, which is obviously so fantastic here in Korea, but then they hit that tank shred, so it's like, you can have Diablo, you can have Garrosh, we don't really care either, because we can do a lot of damage towards it. I kind of like the reason Tempest held on to their tank pick, just because they want to see exactly where DAB goes, and then flex that tank pick around there, because Stein is fantastic when it comes to that role.
And you got flexible options in this battleground too. If you want to try and handle just a Diablo and try to burn him down, you can move it to a Garrosh, pick him off when he shadow charges forward. But if you also just want to be aggressive on the battleground, Muradin becomes a very tasty option, being able to jump on the top of Sapper camps, be aggressive on that bottom 4-man. So the options are definitely there for Tempest, so they don't mind giving over a tank to Leftovers, although it is looking like the A-list roster here for the Leftovers. Diablo, Decker Kane, and Hanzo. This is bread and butter. This is what they've ran in the past. This is something that they can pull off, and they need to pull off.
Muradin's, he's in and out, right? He never really changes, but he comes and he goes. It's just it's the ebbs and flows of Muradin. But Sign, everybody knew Sign when he was on those old MVP rosters a few years ago. He was known to be the Muradin player at the time, so it would be something he's familiar with, can always go back to. His Muradin is legendary amongst most. It's where they won championships with on that roster that he was in just a few years ago.
And it gives you the ability for that reliable stun, follow up to the Tyrande's Lunar Flare. It gives you so much ability then to get locked down in place for this Thrall and Reyna to do damage from afar. And yep, you got a Diablo there, so obviously the likelihood of him diving in deep is going to be quite often. So they have so much percentile shred to take that down.
I think the Leeming is both a pick they want, but also a denial, because if you get the Muradin Tyrande combo, even Thrall Tyrande combo, and there was a Leeming at the tail end of this, I mean, that is just fish in a barrel right there. The armor reduction there, I think they needed that pick on the side of Leftovers to deny it. See if Tempest comes in with a heavy hitter at the end of this, or maybe something tricky like a Zeratul to go on the backside.
It is going to be a Zeratul.
Yeah.
Jahan with the call there.
I think that's an excellent pick, though.
Yep.
By the way, a perfect pick for this comp.
Interchangeable too. Now you can put Thrall on that 4-man, Zeratul can flank on the side, control that side lane if need be, and then of course power up towards that late game, which Raynor is already doing naturally.
Yeah, I mean, you got those heavy hitters that we saw in the first 3 to 4 picks. You got the Zeratools that flex that can rotate as that Roma, as that Genji, if you will, but then also has the ability to dive deep into the squishy backline, trying to immobilize that Deca can. We've seen it happen in the past where you've had like X strikes or Void Prism, or any form of CC, just lock them out of place. There is no turnaround, there is no stay a while, listen, no Lornado, no heals, no nothing. So I like the adaptation, but it gives you the ability just to one-shot Li Ming again, and you know, really reduce the impact that DAB can have on this matchup.
Well, let's go ahead and go into game number 2 as Tetra and Wolf are at the ready to bring you the action.
We are preparing to head into game number 2, and this Zeratul, there's not a huge amount of the classic VP wombo combo, except for maybe Sundering. But in this case, it's still such an effective hero at killing off those squishier targets.
Especially the Hanzo is going to have to be well placed, because this is an old counter to Hanzo in the past in Korea. It was the Tracer or the Zeratul. You never see it now because the level of Hanzo play evolved in Korea so much that most Koreans would never challenge a Hanzo with dive, because Hanzo can actually, in a lot of cases, just jump on the wall and kill the person who continues to dive. But I'm worried about the fact that there's Hunter's Mark plus Zeratul, plus the ability to lock the Hanzo in place, go heavily into the backline with a Thrall Sundering, for example. So there's a lot to worry about here for Leftovers. But I do like that they've taken a more traditional approach to this draft. They're not trying to use the fun picks, okay? We're not going into something that maybe somebody's never seen before. This is common, this is standard.
It is indeed. Everything's a little more chill with the Leftovers here. They've got a huge amount of burst potential with some decent team fighting and poke onto the objectives as well. Li Ming and Hanzo especially, absolutely fantastic. But on the other side, we have the Tyrande. Great harassment. The Thrall, great harassment. So those bell towers, those altars, if they get fortress, we're going to have some pretty intense fights.
Certainly are. At the moment, see this little trade in the mid lane. Faster rotation up, though, coming in here for Podyboss to the off lane. It's going to be Zeratul, of course, off-laning in this case for Tempest. So with Dami up there, he's going to play a more passive Zeratul than you would otherwise. It's not the roaming Zeratul, it's not the DPS Zeratul. But in team fights, you could do a lot to delay altar channels with this hero. And usually on this map in Korea, you see if you're not going to have a composition that's based around controlling the bottom bell tower, you have one that's based around globals. Tempest has neither in this comp. So in a rare mix-up, they're actually just looking for team fights.
They are indeed. They have the tools for it. This Zeratul, especially going for a cleave build, which is, of course, the more AoE style compared to the pretty much never seen Might of the Nerazim one-shot blow-up build that it could probably kill 4 out of 5 members of Leftovers in one go, but then you've literally burnt every single thing on killing one person, whereas instead you could maybe burn VP and Cleave and kill an entire team that way.
Yeah, and you know, we'll see how the build finishes up in a few moments here, but I think that this is just going to be a more passive Zeratul, you know, old school style. We saw some of the more famous Zeratools in Korea, like Tist, who's now, of course, the main tank player for Genji, Reset, also moved into Genji. A lot of players on Genji were good Zeratools, like Rich, for example, and Jung'an, right? Like that old school style of Zeratul that you'd see in Korea. It's just an off-laner and then looks for team fights with the Void. Opsio finds himself a bit overextended here, but the attempt is actually onto the back line, and Good's going to pay for this.
Good, is able to escape, though Celestial Achievement was enough to save Lockdown from the initial engage, but it can't stop Roots. So that Scroll of Sealing from Deckard Cain might end up being Leftovers' best attempt at getting kills.
Yeah. It's a very aggressive way that Tempest collapsed there onto the backline rather than trying to poke Mopsio out, because you end up with a way better trade if you do end up with that Diablo poke, but they wanted to kill, and Rizzo could be very lucky. As you mentioned, the save comes through there from Hyde. Now, the triple altars have spawned, and we do see the you know, rotation down here for Dami. He's looking for the catch here on the Mopsio. Mopsio out of position. He actually may go down here. Maybe first blood of the game, stunned by the Lunar Flare, and that's the first kill of the game here, going over to Tempest.
Nice pickup, easy kill with their incredible amount of blow-up. You saw a couple shots come in from Li Ming looking for at least some counter poke. Everything was dodged neat and tidily though. And we're going to see Tempest trying to take the 2-for-1. They've already managed to get the 1-for-1, but the AB looking for the interrupt is going to get zoned out and maybe pick off here. Good with the kill. 2 kills to 0, 2 alters to 1.
You see Mopsio, Kidney is going to die as well here. See Mopsio right now? He's still mounted, headed back mid.
Yeah.
Had he been there, the leaming poke is absolutely warranted. You have the peel, you have the protection, you know that you can go in and look for that poke. But unfortunately here, DAB took the risk for a very small reward. He was going to have to delay for so much longer for Mopsio to return to that altar, and unfortunately the risk did not pay off. He was slain there, and now Tempest has this massive lead in terms of experience, in terms of the core health, and Potiboss sniffed out here on the risky attempt.
Tick, tick, and down he goes. Even if he got the fountain, the tick would have killed him there almost certainly. It was an interesting, you can see the hesitation. If he hadn't hesitated, he might have lived. We're going to see another kill again onto DAB and Tempest. They're just picking up kill after kill here. 5 kills to 0, a full level lead. It's just a solid amount of blow-up coming in from Tempest.
It's just such a tragedy for this team that is playing a standard composition. They haven't made any major mistakes, but it's just, in terms of big picture, despite a lot of these heroes spending time in the Hall of Storms, they're still trying to play as if everything is normal, even though they're down a member, and that's allowing Tempest to get these solo pickoffs here and there. 5 kills to 0 is an insane stat at less than 5 minutes in the game. That's more than a kill per minute.
They're looking so good right now, and they're obviously going to be looking for more. An interesting talent choice I would like to draw your attention to, though, Wolf. Diabolical Momentum coming in for Diablo. It recently got buffed to about a 1-second cooldown reduction. Can't get it if you're dead, though, as once again, Tempest just roll into leftovers and pick up yet another kill.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Mopsio's sitting at 2 deaths. He spent a lot of time backing off, trying to survive, or just simply with the death timer over a screen. It's not going to get you a lot of souls, not going to make you very tanky. And you need to be tanky, you need to complete that quest in order to get the auto attacks required to get value from this talent in the first place, exactly as you were alluding to as he was picked off there. Tempest now has control of the map, and they have level 10, and this means we could see a Hyperion locked in here to complete this Bell Tower control. Normally you'd see a Banshee with this composition, but because they have this massive lead, I think Good will absolutely just lock in the Hyperion, and they'll look to control this bottom Bell Tower, and therefore have this anchor in this game as Kidney caught again.
Dodging everything, though. He's able to play around it. Can't dodge that. Yes, he can. He gets over the wall. The lightning not off cooldown. He tries to bounce the lightning off Potiboss. Owl comes out as well. They were all in on killing him there, but Poti able to escape.
Poti also went to the right there, which is so critical because he knew the Q was going to come out. He actually made sure there was enough distance to where that would not bounce then to the wall and then kill him on the other side. So nice, very subtle move there from Poti that guaranteed the escape for Kidney. But here's the Hyperion lock-in committed, and they're going to go ahead and use it to grab this Bell Tower. This is so textbook Raynor on this battleground.
Dami is going to escape a gank coming in here from leftovers Potiboss. And he is going to have to burn VP to do it, but like you said, while this was happening, Tempest, they pick up the bottom Bell Tower with the help of that Hyperion and Yamato Cannon for that extra structure damage.
They have 10 now, leftovers do, and they have a lot of hard engage with this composition. They have a ton of combo potential with Leeming to follow up after the stay a while and listen, but I'm really worried about how they've been getting caught and split. They need to roam as a group, more as they are now, and they need to consistently do this. We obviously do see the split here for the attempted altar, but here's a Sundering. Linked in so much trouble right now, no way out.
He's just potioning himself. Dragon Arrow, though, onto Good. Mopsio trying to dive it, but the healing from Hyde is coming out consistently. Good is tanking through beautifully. Mopsio completely isolated. He and Linked both taken out.
Yeah, just no follow-up damage there for the commitment from Mopsio. Meanwhile, obviously, these sappers are all going to connect. There's just no way to deny that at the moment. Well, as I say that, we do see a heavy commitment down, but even if you deny these down here, you're going to lose the boss, which means you're going to lose shots anyways. And you can see off-screen Dami in the top lane, just up to the top, on the corner of your eye, you can see he is prepping this wave, get some more cannon towers. Right now, Tempest is thinking about permanent Bell Tower control.
Yeah.
If you take the bottom one back, we'll have another one prepped and ready to go during the trade.
shots come in from the boss, and immediately Tempest start running down to bot. They can give it up if they want to, but they would be much happier if they could just keep it controlled. No, in fact, they don't rotate bot. They continue pushing mid, like you said, setting up for more.
Yeah, this is a really common thing to do in Korea when you're about to get that talent tier. You just take the walls, grab that experience, and start whittling away at the forts so that you can, you know, eventually get a second one, even if the commitment for Leftovers is at the bottom, where you continue to use Hyperion to control that. We're going to see an invade here for Leftovers, though. The arrow just started off.
Zeratul getting focused down. Stay a while and listen, though, is not enough to finish off Dami. The lockdown not there. Mirrored it over the wall. And Tempest with a solid disengage. But Leftovers do at least claim their own camp.
Not entirely sure what why that Stay a While and Listen did not catch him there. Might have just not
He was
him.
just on the outside.
Yeah. For a second, I thought the scatter arrow actually woke him. But yeah, I think he just simply was not in the hitbox of that. So unfortunate, because that could have been a great fight for Leftovers had that occurred. Either way, 13 talent tier advantage here for Tempest as we look for the double altar fight. Mopsio leading the charge, trying to find this back line, but Good has no fear.
And for good reason. Tyranda's been doing such a good job of keeping him alive. He's completely comfortable just getting stuck in. Got fight or flight for some armor to keep himself alive even more effectively. Mopsio tries to tackle onto a minion, looks for lockdown. Apocalypse hits absolutely nothing, Wolf, and Mopsio, he is finding himself all alone. Polyboss and Link, though, coming in for the assistance, and they will sustain this.
Yeah, Hyperion just using, you know, this for a little bit of extra damage.
Oh,
Good has the ability to get in there with that extra passive range to get the kill. Now Mopsio stunned and caught. That's going to be a second kill here. Polyboss might not be long for this world. Good gets DAB as well. They're going to guarantee a triple here. Just no way to get out of this. Blakitny needs to be careful contesting this, or you might find himself dying as well. Sign wants it.
He's got a wall, but does he have natural legitimacy? He gets the scatter arrow with Mopsio back. Blakitny will survive this time.
Mopsio being back here is double-edged sword. Sure, it helps him survive, but it means he's out of souls. He's lost his health, and they easily retake this bell tower. Remember, the walls in top and bottom are also gone. This may not be the only bell tower that Tempest holds this game.
We see Tempest just getting the double channel here. 10 shots onto the core of Leftovers, bringing them down to 9. They are looking rough right now with Tempest at 33 core health. They're even going to grab some sappers here. Zeratul's already in mid lane soaking the experience. He doesn't rotate up to top though, so his top lane will actually take a little bit of damage, but at this point, an acceptable sacrifice.
It also allows him to get free soak later after defending this, rather than clearing it and having a more risky soak in the future, especially with how aggressively Blakitny has been rotating this game using his arrows. But how does Leftovers win this? I think it has to be a clean engage with CC linked together, but the positioning is so good for Tempest. Good does not get clipped by that scroll of sling. That could have been the opportunity they were looking for, but he's just not quite there as they continue to escort these sappers in.
Moves closer every time, but he's still able to play safe underneath his bell tower. The AB will get a little bit of damage off, but Good just trades up so effectively. Right now, with these potions set up, Tempest, they are very happy to just try and zone away, but Leftovers, they do have the consistent sustain. Whereas Tyrande, once again, waiting for minions, but look at her mana count. She's been so efficient with the amount of healing she's been dropping that this is not an issue.
Dami just gonna split off here as they let this bell tower go. But at the end of the day, Tempest is just not willing to take risks at this point. They have this game controlled. I mean, minus the core shots, they're on the verge of a perfect game, right? 12 kills to 0 at the moment. Why take a risk over the bot bell tower you could take back later with the composition you have, with the Hyperion that you have, when you could just get 16 instead? Doesn't matter if you have 5 shots, really, or 4, when all you really need is one team fight and the boss to finish it all off. Leftovers looking for the approach here. They do not want to give this bell tower up. Dami does not get hit by that scatter. They don't know where he is.
And right now, we're seeing the double channel attempt. Lynx will get his side. Polyboss, though, will get interrupted. Good wrapping in. Here comes
prison.
the full end. Polyboss taken out by Dami.
Dami grabs that prison there to help guarantee this kill, and they want more than this. Stay a while, listen. Not really going to do all too much. Meanwhile, down in the bottom, that is going to be the end of Blakitny. And Mopsio will fall with him. And this is just this disjointed team split into all different directions. And that's been the story of this 2-game series. Linked caught.
Thundering, Stormbolt, and all the damage in the world. Tempest able to get the full team wipe. They move on to the bell tower. They're going to be able to take that down with an altar still available for them. They're going to be able to get a solid 5 shots. and that will be simply lethal.
That is going to be all she wrote. All they have to do is right-click.
Unless the Dragon Arrow hits them, because Hanzo is
It is
alive.
coming. All we
Here
have
it
to do is stand here, though.
comes. APOC as well. First interrupt. Raider eats the Dragon Arrow, and now Malthael's on the way. He's going to attempt to 1v5, but there's nothing he can do. That will be GG.
Yep, he's not gonna interrupt that one. He doesn't want his KDA to go down a little bit. He knows that's not gonna happen. But Tetra, man, you gotta really feel for these guys. They're this story of this team that made it through Europe. A lot of people didn't expect them to be here. They face off against Tempest that hasn't been a really strong team internationally like the rest of Korea in quite some time. It's a tough opponent, don't get me wrong, but to lose like this after having an already tough group, it's such a rare thing to see. Not all of Europe's representation in the round of 8 going to Anaheim. That's so rare to see a European team knocked out in this early stage. It's not set yet, but it's going to be a long and tough road for this squad going forward.
There is still hope for leftovers. 1-2-0 in the bracket, assuming the 1 get no more points, and they might be able to sneak their way out, and assuming Mindfreak aren't able to score a 2-0 somewhere as well. It is still possible. They are not out yet, but Tempest one step closer to going to Anaheim. But for now, we are going to send you back over to our analysis desk to break down that second game.
It's Tempest again getting 3 points there with the 2 big victories over the Leftovers. Leftovers not fully out of it, but the road is very difficult for them to grab that 4th spot. You have great contenders here in Group B, Dignitas, HGC, Tempest. Are they going to be able to grab that 4th spot? We'll have to see later on, but for now, Tempest gets a massive win over Leftovers, even a 3-level lead. What did it for them, Skimmy?
I think they got a lot of the picks that they wanted as well, but they just have so much momentum and drive. I said it after game number 1. You get to see the emotion sign being so loud. Every single time they found an initiation, they were going for it. Every single time they got a kill, cheers, woos. They were happy. They were getting amongst it. The energy is such a big driving force behind playing video games, right? If you have that camaraderie going in your favor, very hard to try and turn that steam around. And we just saw no energy from Leftovers, and that just keeps begging the question for me as I rack my mind to try and figure out what went wrong apart from the picks. Because, you know, those were their comfort picks.
Yeah.
Why weren't they talking? Are they starting to really feel some stress? Is the results, as well as their standings in this league, or in this group, I should say, really starting to, like, you know, weigh heavily on them?
I think what you said kind of nails it. Momentum. Korean momentum, when you take the lead or when you get that first pick, it is all momentum at that point because they don't let up. We're actually going to take a look at one of those team fights that basically sealed the deal at this. And you can take a look right now. I mean, the VP's got a couple people locked out, and the whole thing is we know Leftovers. They're willing to fight. And as we run it forward, the key target is linked up here at the top. I mean, there's clearly a call or a miscommunication because when this VP drops, you see the Hyperion down. It's ready to fight. The Starfall's there. So you see several members going one way and one member going forward, and this is somewhere in communication. As you said, you need more communication. Link trying to make the plays, he's caught in that. And the minute this happens, I mean, Good's just simply gonna step forward. He says, okay, he's like, I'm down to fight, let's go. So we take that, Good simply walks forward, has the Hyperion there. That's kill number 1. But that is when the momentum really picks up here because we'll go forward and Mopsio and team, it's all hands on deck trying to survive. They instantly go into this, the follow-up CC. I mean, this is everybody swarming directly onto one target. They call one, then they call another, and they're gonna keep going. So as we go forward here, look at lockdown on the bottom of the screen because right there, he's going to hit this Sunder. And when he hits this Sunder's going to go all the way through. That actually was the kill shot onto the Diablo. And so you count that. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people. That is a max Sunder at this stage of the game. So as this goes on, then it's just like, well, this is easy cleanup for the rest of the way because as we go forward, you'll see that's 1 kill. Good continues to move forward. Pody Boss is a target. And that's just momentum, momentum, momentum. If you ever wonder when you get to an international event, if you don't watch a lot of Korean teams, when they get up against some of these teams, I mean, everybody can do it, don't get me wrong, but Korea is so well known at making these things happen. Just that momentum. Blakitny gets away, but at the end of that, that was 4 members down. It's just momentum, you get the kills, and when you're done with 1, you get 2, 3, 4, and you're like, man, all of a sudden, that was a 12-13 fight, risky fight. Yeah. But then you're down 2 levels, 3 levels, and it's just so hard to come back from that amount of pressure.
A full display of teamwork and communication and how important it can be in Heroes of the Storm and how quickly things can really fall on its head if you are not careful. But that is it for our series when it comes to Leftovers and Tempest. Up next, HGC and Dignitas prepare to face off.
We do see the Warden's Cage though. We did predict that along with the Archon for the big AoE damage and a Lord Nado for even more disruption. Brute lands onto Dami, but Power Slide in. Quick pickup from Lockdown onto Mopsio. And with no tank, DAB is definitely trying to survive with that Tassadar shield. Moshpit more as a zoning tool that Deckard has to walk into it to try and escape. Lakitni tries to Warden Cage his way out, but this is going to be a good salvo to finish off 2 more members.
Oh, DAB is not getting out of here alive. I don't think the recall. Oh, just barely enough.
They were able to beat out Beyond the Game in 8-2-0.
Oh, Leftovers may have overstepped here a little bit. They're going to go ahead and toss out the Skeletal Mages here. Looking for Lockdown. That would be a nice picky. X strikes out.
He's able to dash through, keep himself alive, but Kitty is low with Tracer already taken out as the main damage source. Moshpit not even needed. Mopsio is down. Boss on the run. Linked is far enough away.
Not want to give this bell tower up. Dami does not get hit by that scatter. They don't know where he is.
Right now, we're seeing the double channel attempt. Linked will get his side. Boss though will get interrupted. Good wrapping in. Here comes
Prison.
the full end. Boss taken out by Dami.
Dami grabs that prison there to help guarantee this kill, and they want more than this. Stay a while, listen. Not really going to do all too much. Meanwhile, down in the bottom, that is going to be the end of Lakitni. And Mopsio will fall with him. And this is just this disjointed team split into all different directions. And that's been the story of this 2-game series.
So,
Linked caught.
Thundering, Stormbolt, and all the damage in the